This is the next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions. Continue our Coliseum home video review series. This is going to be Coliseum home video, The Ultimate Warrior from 1989. Your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Man, let's get into this. I love when they put out the. As a kid, I always loved
Yeah.
these things when they
Just
put out the videos
on the
of
like
these
the solo
guys.
guys, like tag team stuff like that. I remember renting this from. I remember I was at my grandmother's house. I remember we watched it. So I'm for some reason I vividly remember this one.
Yeah, the only one I don't remember, but I had mentioned quite a few times, especially when we did Savage's bio and Hogan's, was when they put the Warrior Savage match on this that we get into in a little bit. That solidified Savage being a heel, and it
Mhm.
was a very underrated
Oh
match
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in their
They had a
whole
few,
history.
and they had a few of them during that time period, right before WrestleMania 5. They had a few on the house show circuit.
Yep. So let's go ahead and kick these off. They started out on the video with a couple of his promos, and
Hmm.
I love the one where don't smoke.
Yeah,
I
great
love
steal.
that promo. The hype that he has. The what's the word I'm looking for? It'll come to me later. But the passion,
Intensity,
the
intensity.
intensity and his passion. Yes. So the first match that they put on this for his 88/89 video was what set up to me WrestleMania 4, and that was a match with the Mighty Hercules
Hmm.
on February 1988 on Wrestling Challenge. This to me what was great because when the tug of war that these two had with the chain, and a Warrior snaps that
Yeah,
chain,
that was good stuff. It was fun.
and the look on Hercules' face was just like, oh shit. And then, of course, quickly after that, hitting Warrior with it, getting disqualified. Again, this sets up the grudge match that they will have at WrestleMania, which was a pretty good match.
Mhm.
I'm surprised they didn't put that on here as well to kind of like, okay, this is what it's set up, and then
Yeah,
here's what
who
happened.
knows why?
But we
But there's
weren't
other,
disappointed on
yeah,
the matches on
there
this.
are, yeah,
So there are quite a few
yeah.
good ones. Next one they showed on here, I love this one, and it's unfortunate for Brutus Beefcake, and we've talked about this. We talked about it on the
Yeah.
last Warrior episode that we did. At SummerSlam '88, Honky Tonk Man's got a mystery opponent. Brutus Beefcake's out with an injury thanks to Outlaw Ron Bass. He gets on the microphone, bring me anybody, I don't care. And, Gorilla, there's a lot of guys that'll take this guy apart. All of a sudden, the music hits. Superstar Billy Graham's like, that's familiar music.
Yep.
Garden goes nuts. Out comes the Ultimate Warrior and squashes his Elvis
Takes him out,
impersonating
yeah.
ass in 90
Yep.
seconds. I
Which
loved
I
it.
think it was a record at the time. I think it was a
Yeah.
record.
Um, yeah, there was a record at the time, 90 seconds. He squashes the Honky Tonk Man, becomes the Intercontinental Champion. Whole place goes
Yeah,
nuts.
bananas, yeah.
I
Awesome stuff.
mean,
It was great
yeah,
stuff.
it really was. And just watching Honky sell the
Hmm.
power of
Yeah,
the
he did a good
Warrior in that
job.
match was great.
And the shock of it and the crowd pop. I mean, it's good stuff.
Yes, it was. And they didn't disappoint because the next match they show was the Saturday Night Main Event rematch in
Hmm.
1989 in January. And, Ventura was talking about how, well, Honky now has the tapes. He has the advantage over the Warrior. He can actually
Right,
beat
right.
him
Yeah,
now.
because he got caught off guard before.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Wrong.
No, sorry, buddy.
No way.
You're not. You can have all the video you want on the Ultimate Warrior. You're not beating him on his worst day.
Nope.
And I mean, he tried because he's using the megaphone. Um, Jimmy Hart's got the referee distracted. Honky's trying to to cheat. Doesn't work. The shoulder tackle and a pin. Warrior, successfully defends the Intercontinental title against Honky, and that puts to bed this feud that's gone on from. You could say it was a feud after August. It puts it finally to bed in '89.
Hmm.
And the next match they showed was actually a dark match that if you watch the main event number two, we didn't get to see this on there
Right.
because they
That's a
back
good
then
match.
they had about 10 matches that they would put on this card, but
Hmm.
they would only show us probably two or three. And this was one of them, unfortunately, they did not show. And I believe this was the same night as the Mega Powers too.
Yes, it was the same night.
So February 3rd, 1989, Warrior defends the Intercontinental Championship against Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Mhm.
I mean, you're fighting Valentine. I can understand why you put it on a dark match, but still
Valentine
it would have been
Valentine
cool to see.
with his antics with the brace.
Yep,
Was it a
always with
heartbreaker?
the brace.
What was it called? The heartbreaker, I think. The knee brace, whatever it was called. And I guess that was around. It's around the time with Garvin, right? Because he uses the brace
Mhm.
against Garvin.
Yep,
Ground
and
Valentine, former IC champion, right? Correct.
yes, he is
Yeah.
former tag and IC
Hmm.
champion,
People forget
and
about that tag. People forget he was a tag champion.
Dream Team.
Yeah,
A
the
lot of
original Dream
people.
Team.
If you go back and ask them, Beefcake and Valentine, they're like,
You're like,
"Oh,
yeah,
they were."
well, yeah. Hmm.
WrestleMania 3, they broke up. But yeah, it's hard to imagine. You got to think about it that Valentine
Imagine.
held two out of the three titles at the time.
Yep.
So um, this was weird seeing Ultimate Warrior actually use a foreign object, seeing as how he's not the type of guy that really needs to do it. But he figured, well, you tried to use it on me. I'm going to use it on you, and I'm going to clothesline you with your I can't think
Brace.
today, man. Yeah, thank you. With the brace on his from his foot, and gets the pin over Greg the Hammer Valentine, like he
See,
really needed to use it, and successfully defends the Intercontinental title against Valentine. Next match they showed, and I liked when these two guys locked up. It was Warrior and King Haku,
yeah.
and people underestimate King
No,
Haku.
Haku was good, man.
Very underrated. Um, to me personally, he wasn't given the chance. But, at least he had some gold in WWE, the tag team titles with Andre. Or you could just say he was the tag team
Right, because
because
Andre
Andre couldn't do
couldn't.
anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, very underrated guy in King Haku, and Ultimate Warrior to me always had good matches with him. And this one didn't disappoint either. And the splash and the pin, successfully winning that, defending that IC title against Haku. As Warrior, goes through the Heenan family. So, but it was this one here particularly. This was a really good match. Now, the one that I always enjoy when these two guys get into it, this solidified, made it official that Randy Savage was now a heel
Hmm.
after the whole lust in your eyes, Hogan. This was February 15th, 1989, from Binghamton, New York. Title for title,
Yep.
Macho Man Randy Savage defending the title against the Ultimate Warrior. So now Savage, the Mega Powers are gone.
Did you
Savage
notice
is a heel.
the Warrior came out second?
Yes, Savage came out first
Yeah.
and without Elizabeth,
Yeah. So, but that's cool to
which
see.
which is fine.
It's kind of a forgotten match in their feud, like these matches,
It is.
champion versus champion. Fortunately, we didn't get to see it on a pay-per-view or anything like that, but it's cool to see it here. They had a few matches besides this one, during that time, and it's just cool to see Warrior and Macho Man back then,
Yeah,
before,
before the whole
yeah.
Warrior being WWE
Uh-huh.
champion and the
Hmm.
career-ending
Yeah.
match. Um, and it was just weird to see. Then Rude comes down, and
Yeah, he's studied.
this idiot just every time Warrior kind of looks at him,
Hmm.
he's posing, and I'm like, don't pose, hit him, knock him
Well,
out.
because they were setting up
The
Wrestle,
pose down, or WrestleMania
yeah,
5,
WrestleMania 5, yeah.
and so and it was weird to see Savage and Rude in the same ring together
Right?
after Savage was a baby face for the
Hmm.
last year, over a year and a half. Thanks a lot, Hogan, for ruining that for us. We got what we wanted, but you had to ruin it. But whatever. Um, what was I going to say? The way it won, the way the match ended, rather, by count out. Savage wins by count out because he hits the double axe handle
Yeah,
on Warrior on the outside, who was chasing Rude, who
you
had
had to,
enough.
right, you had to protect Randy because he's getting ready to go up against Hogan, and you're protecting Warrior
You
too.
mean he's
So,
getting ready to lose the title to
well,
Hogan?
yeah, but what are you gonna do?
Exactly. So yeah, it saves face. Savage, kind of wins by count. Warrior finally had enough at this
Hmm.
point. He chases him around. I was like, "That's it.
Yeah,
You
he's
bothered
done.
me enough." And then the two of them in the ring together just threw me through a loop. And then of course Warrior goes in, beats the crap out of both of them.
Mhm.
Savage runs, but he gets his hands on Rude, and that again, that's also setting up now. We got Warrior and Rude at WrestleMania. Next thing on there, they showed. I kind of like this, and it's never going to go in the heels' way when the fans have to vote for who they want to win. And this was from the Royal Rumble in 1989, the
Yeah,
Super
yeah,
Pose
the
Down,
superposed down. Yeah,
and of
this is
course,
funny.
yeah, because they're Rude's doing everything right
Listen,
according to Ventura.
arm wrestling, pose downs, bench lifting contests. There's always going to be some,
Never.
you know,
There's always
single
going to be some
bag.
shenanigans,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and Bobby Heenan's even saying, the smart people here in Houston need to vote right, dude.
Right.
You can bribe them with $500
Yeah.
or whatever you want. They're still not going to vote over the Ultimate Warrior,
Mhm.
man. Even if the Warrior doesn't even pose.
It's funny though when Heenan sprays Warrior in the face, the Warrior no sells it.
No, no sells the baby
He no
oil.
sells the baby
I
oil.
love it. I
I
love
guess
it.
he was so just he wasn't so into character that he just forgot because it was supposed to kind of blind him, and then that's why Rude is it. But whatever,
He
it
hits
was
him
fun.
with the workout
Yeah,
bar
yeah.
and proceeds to
Now we just
beat the holy hell out of him.
now we just want to see Warrior destroy this guy, man. At
Oh,
this point,
definitely. Beat him from pillar to post. Come WrestleMania. Come anytime
unfortunately,
you wrestle
right?
Rude.
Unfortunately,
I know.
that's it. The first time doesn't go his way.
And we say that as we run into the next match that they showed, unfortunately, which was WrestleMania 5 for the Intercontinental title, Ultimate Warrior versus Ravishing Rick Rude. The only thing I did not like, and we've discussed this, was the how it ended.
Oh, Heenan grabbing the referee's right
The
there. He grabs the
Yeah,
legs
he
and
grabs the leg, holds
Warrior's
onto
legs
it,
holds on
and
to it.
Rude gets the pin. You're basically telling everybody, and you're telling your man here, I don't think you could beat
Well,
him
he's a heel,
straight up.
man. He's a heel. This is what
I
this is
know
what
they did a heelish move.
this is what heels do. He wasn't going to beat Warrior straight up. You couldn't do that to Warrior. So he had to cheat somehow, you know? It is what it is. It sets up their
I mean,
rematch. I
don't get
was
me
so
wrong,
pissed.
the match was great.
Yeah, no, it was a great match. They never had bad matches, those two.
No.
Rude did a great job. He did a great job
Hmm.
selling those turnbuckle bumps and stuff like that.
Oh man, my back hurts every time I watch those
Hmm.
matches, man.
Fun match. I like Warriors in the video. The Coliseum video. Warrior commentates like in between.
Hmm.
Stuff he has like saying he's gonna get his revenge, basically, right? I'm paraphrasing, but it was something to that effect. He was gonna get his
Yeah,
revenge on them.
yeah. Well, that night, as Rude runs away with the IC title, he gets his hands on Bobby Heenan, and they're like, "Oh, well, he still has to wrestle tonight." Yeah, don't worry, that match is gonna be crap, whether he was
Uh,
healthy or not. So then the next two, they show the highlights over the next, and I
yeah,
actually
which is
thought they were going to put the SummerSlam
the
match
SummerSlam
on
match.
this,
Yeah,
which would have been the highlight of what they were showing here, but they didn't. But they show the highlights of the
highlights.
first rematch from the Boston Garden,
Right.
April 22nd of '89, and I remember them saying, because I believe it was Tony Schiavone and Lord Alfred Hayes, and Schiavone saying that how this could be in fact the shortest reign for an Intercontinental Champion, as he just won it not too
Right.
long ago. And then, of course, they show the highlights also for the Meadowlands a month later
Hmm.
on May 8th, 1989, between Warrior and Rude. Their battles for the Intercontinental title that culminates at SummerSlam with Warrior winning back the Intercontinental
Yeah.
Championship. In a large part, thanks to Roddy Piper distracting Rick Rude. But either way, I think Warrior
Oh
still
yeah,
would
no,
have
no, he was
would
gonna
have won
lose
the
it. Yeah,
title
yeah.
back regardless.
Of course, yeah.
But I mean, this was a tremendous collection of the start of his unfortunately
Hmm.
short but
Right.
amazing career, and he's just getting started.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
By 1989.
Yeah, it was just a fun video. Like as a fan, like I said, I remember watching this as a kid, and I was excited to watch this because these are matches. Some of them, most of them, I guess, I never even saw.
Yeah.
Besides the pay-per-view stuff. But so it was a good collection, and it was fun. It was a fun
Well,
video.
the Valentine match, I don't ever remember
Yeah.
watching. I sort of remember the Savage. It's kind of blurry after all these years, but yeah, the other ones we saw via pay-per-view.
Mhm.
But come on, I mean, mostly, at that age, you and I and every other child,
Oh
Hulkamaniac at the
yeah.
time
I was renting all,
was renting all those Hulk Hogan
dude.
videos.
The whole comedian, dude. Anything wrestling, I would go to the wrestling section in the video.
Yes.
We're dating ourselves, obviously, but I would go to the wrestling section in the video store. Anything that was wrestling, I was renting.
I don't care if it makes us sound old. This was the highlight. This was of our
Oh
childhood.
yeah,
The
yeah.
wrestling section in the video. And yes, it was on VHS, people.
Yep, yep.
There was a VCR before DVDs, and even people looking at me like, "What's a DVD?"
Right.
I don't care. Video game section, wrestling
Yep.
section. That was my night.
Yeah,
I don't care. It
absolutely.
was awesome. All the
Yeah.
tapes they had. I don't care who they had on there
Mm-hmm.
on Coliseum. I'm renting it. I'm
Renting it.
watching it.
Exactly. All right. That's our review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.
Take care.